Hiya Toon Fanatics, and welcome to Toon Corner. And today we'll be talking about some Toontastic facts about the Fleischer brothers. For this list, not only are we going to be talking about the brothers, but we're also going to talk about their studio, Toon stars, and more. Let's get started. Max and Dave Fleischer's first Toon star, Coco the Clown, was basically used as a demonstration for what the rotoscope is capable of. And how they were able to achieve that is basically Max would film Dave dancing around in a clown costume, and later on Max would trace over the footage frame by frame. Betty Boop's looks and voice were heavily influenced by Helen Kane, who was a popular singer during the 1920s. Vaudeville performer William Costello, also known as Red Pepper Sam, became the first person to voice Popeye in the Popeye cartoons. So basically, William voiced Popeye in a small handful of cartoons, and unfortunately would later on get fired because he became really hard to work with. So William went overseas so he can make records in his Popeye voice, and whenever he goes on stage, he would actually bill himself as the original voice of Popeye. Meanwhile, Jack Mercer steps in as the voice of Popeye in the Popeye cartoons, and he would continue voicing Popeye for the next few decades. Besides rotoscoping, there is another animation technique that the Fleischers would do in their cartoons from time to time. They would actually have 3D models as the background and have the characters wander around in that environment. And the basic way to describe how they're able to achieve that is basically they combined traditional animation with stop motion. So for example, Popeye, whenever he walks in that environment, the background moves with him. And it's done frame by frame. So with traditional animation, he's walking frame by frame. The background is moving frame by frame. So it would actually create the illusion that the camera is focused on Popeye and would actually move with him as he is walking. After Walt Disney made his first full-length animated feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937, the Fleischers wanted to compete with Disney in that field of animation. So, they've actually have made 2 animated films. Their first animated film was Gulliver's Travels in 1939. Critics who saw the film basically were giving praise to the characters and animation, but when it comes to the story, the critics were like, it's fine. In 1941, they made Mr. Bug Goes to Town, and I would say the film would have done well if it hadn't ran into a couple of problems. Their first problem was that it wasn't well advertised, and the second problem was it was released around the time that America has entered World War II after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Superman's anime debut has actually dated way back in the early 1940s, thanks to the Fleischer brothers when they made the Superman theatrical cartoons. During that time, cartoons featuring superheroes from comic books were really, really rare. And whenever the Superman theatrical cartoons were being made, it wasn't too long ago that the first Superman comic was released back in the late 30s. And Superman was already having his own radio show. So basically, Superman was the Mickey Mouse of the comic book world as far as popularity goes. And the question of the day is, what Toontastic fact about the Fleischer brothers were you surprised about? Just let me know in the comment section down below. Feel free to leave any requests. And I'll see you next time in Toon Corner.